Live.
Yo,
What's going on, people?
What's happening? What's happening? This is Making Change Studios. Hosting today, our pal Tom.
yo. It's good to be here, man. It's good to be here.
Good to have you, sir. Good to have you.
We've been talking about some controversial stuff.
We've been talking about some controversial stuff this morning. And this is why we need to make sure we get you in the shot.
Is it controversial?
Oh, yeah.
It is controversial.
Because a lot of what I want to speak about doesn't get talked about.
So is it not taboo?
No. It's not taboo, it's just...
Because it does happen.
Yeah, it does happen, but no one speaks about it.
Yeah, so...
But I don't want to generalise, actually. I just want to say that a majority of men, as a whole, don't talk about it. Because I think it's because, like, you know, we're not meant to be seen as the... We're seen as the masculine sex out of male and female.
Well, we should be the master.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we should be, but like...
You mean the strong? You shouldn't have vulnerabilities.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
the superheroes. Yeah, we're the save the day. We're the, protectors. The alpha.
Yeah, the alpha male.
Yeah.
Instead of being, the beta. But I was in a relationship. The relationship started when I was 18. I met her at college, and probably the first love of my life. And about 6 months in, this was only till after the relationship ended that I kind of saw what was going on, the controlling side of it, and how the controlling led to physical abuse and kind of he said, she said sort of thing. But a lot of it was to do with physical and physical hitting, physical beatings, you know what I mean? Because you can't hit a woman back. It's just not right. I was brought up to believe that you're not meant to hit a woman because...
But you can shake the shit out of it.
Exactly. Whatever happens in the bedroom, that's their business. You know what I mean? Some people get off on that shit, but yeah. I think one good example of abuse would be probably after our second year of being together. She went up to London on a business trip or something, and at the time I was still at uni, and she was like, I want you to Skype me when it gets late. I want to know that you're safe. I want to know that, I can talk to you. And I'm like, okay. But at the time, I was just at the process of finishing my coursework and leaving. And then I was like, nah, you know what? I want to go to town. I want to go and get drunk with my friend Ben. And we went, and she called me. And she was like, where are you? I thought we were Skyping. And I was like, well, I'll change of plan. I hope you don't mind. I just want to go uptown with my friend.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, I don't want you to do that. How do I know you're not going to go and do whatever with some other bird?
So this is her insecurity coming out now,
yeah? And the insecurity goes far beyond that. It goes into my personal life as well. But I'll get into that in a second. It's more... She was dictating to me, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go out with this person. And in the end, we're fighting over it. And my mate's saying to me, oh, yeah, we all know who wears the trousers in this relationship. And I was like, I hung up. We didn't get into any clubs because we didn't have the right clothes on. There were places that we wanted to go to. Had a Mackey's, got a taxi back. The receipt from the McDonald's fell out my pocket on my front door. And then... all of a sudden, she turns up on my doorstep the next day at 12 o'clock. I think it was something like that, midday. And she breaks the hinge off the door. And
Girl sounds like a beast, bro. I think I'd be falling in line too.
Yeah, it's alright. She's crazy.
So she breaks the door off the hinge, like kicks it clean off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was already broken anyway, but she kind of finished it off.
Yeah.
And then I come down and I see that she's coming through the front door. We speak, and she talks about a trip in London, and she pulls out this receipt from her, and I'm like, hey. And she's like, "Did you go up to town yesterday when I told you not to?" And I was like, "Yeah, I went with my mate. I wanted to have a good time." And she's like, "I told you not to." She gets a fish and she whacks me one in the face just because I did something she didn't want me to do. Um, a lot of the insecurities, I wouldn't say come from what happened to her in the past, because she had a pretty traumatic, past. But I won't bring that up. It's got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But a lot of it has to do with trust as well.
Yeah.
Trust is a massive thing in a relationship. And a lot of people who I'm not friends with now would say that I'm the reason she had trust issues. And
I was just
yeah,
gonna say that.
yeah.
So, how long was you with her at this point?
A 2.5. I think it was over a year and a half.
Okay, so you've been with her for nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
These issues, did they just come from nowhere? Or had there been something going on? I mean, speaking openly and honestly,
Well,
had there been anything in the past? I mean, did you cheat on her?
no.
Was you texting other girls? Where did this come from? 2 years and she just switched.
Well, what happened was, after about 6 months of being together, I just got back from a holiday in Croatia with my mate, and that was a sick holiday. Basically, I was one night he came over to my house, and my ex missus was there, and I fell asleep on the couch while those two were talking, and I decided to go. I woke up and I decided to go upstairs, and then about 5 in the morning, I woke. I'm still awake because I'm wondering like why they're still like down there talking. It's 5 in the morning, and then they come up and it's kind of like silent. She goes into the spare room and he comes sleep, on his little like bunk bed or whatever he brings with me because he wanted to stay the night, and it was her idea to bring him over, and it was my mate. So, when after we broke up about 2 years ago, I found out that he was flirting with her that night, and of course at the time I was just about to finish college to go into uni, and I had a female friend, Kirsty, who I don't talk to anymore because she wanted me to stop talking to her. Obviously, me and Kirsty were good mates at college, and we used to text a lot, and obviously it never went anywhere other than friends. I made that clear to her, like, the girl I was seeing at the time. But the fact that she didn't like me texting her because she was another girl, and my mate also stirred shit up by telling my girlfriend at the time that I was into her, and my mate even went out of his own way to message Kirsty, and kind of like make up a story.
This mate sounds like a prick, by the way.
Well, the thing is though, he came forward to me and told me everything about what happened between me and my ex. Well, him and my ex. Then they never kissed or anything like that, but I know there was flirting going on there, and she kept it a secret. And I think that's what led to further insecurity about the relationship, because every time that my mate tried to contact me and trying to make things right, she'd be like, "No, I don't talk to him. He's toxic. He's this. He's that." And
but to be fair, from an outside perspective, she stayed downstairs with him until 5 in the morning, so she couldn't have been that flipping opposed to him. She couldn't have been that opposed to him flirting for that long.
Yeah,
it would have just been. She would have just said, "Stop! I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed with you."
Maybe. I mean, we were very proper. Let's just put it that way. We were very she didn't sleep in the same room as me until probably after 8 months. We were very we were very proper in that sense. Old fashioned. I was 18. Okay, she was 17. So we spent a long ass time together.
Yeah.
And not gonna lie, there were times when I thought, yeah, I do want to cheat. You know what I mean? there were times when I thought, fuck this. I'd rather I'd rather I'd rather do that than deal with this anymore. I'd want to find someone else.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that she'd want to go on my phone all the time. She'd want to check my personal conversations, my personal text messages.
Well, this is after the facts, and I can understand that when someone's accusing you, and you're not doing anything, then it does make you want to do that because you're getting all the grief anyway.
Yeah,
you're getting accused. And
not saying it's right, but
it's not right, but that's just human nature. Like if I'm getting accused of something every day.
Pretty
might
much.
as well do it. Like, I'm not saying you did do it and you shouldn't do it, but at the same point, it's going to make you think that because this person obviously doesn't value you, she doesn't actually, she has no trust in you.
Well, that's essentially what it was. And some people would say to me, like, why did she stay with you if she had all these issues? That's something I questioned myself at some point. But the fact is, I think the fact is, matter. I loved her to the bottom of my heart, and I would have done anything for her. And I even let her go on my phone. And it got to the point where I spoke to one of my friends from uni, whose name I won't mention. I don't think he would appreciate me mentioning his name. I came into college with a black eye. And he sat me down. He said, "Are you being abused?" And I was like, at first I said, "Nah, don't worry about it." And then it got to the point after about a second year of being together, it was like, "Yeah, you've got to tell me what's going on, because I don't believe a word of what you're telling me." And at that point, I'd already been through so much with her, and I'm going to be unbiased here. And I say, well, we went on a break around about Christmas 2016, and the place I was working at, the pub, I did kiss someone that went to the pub there, whose name I won't mention, and she, we had broken up at that point because of something I had done, because of how, as I say, how I was feeling. I sent, there was a girl who I knew, and one night got drunk. I think this was about a year and 6 months together. My ex at the time told me she was going to a party at her next door neighbour's house. It was her mate's 18th, and I weren't invited because apparently I had to work, but I could have got the day off or whatever. I'm working, and then her Snapchat blows up with all these pictures of these lads with her in it, and then 5 a.m, when I'm home, I'm sleeping after my shift at the pub. She's telling me about how she never wants to go to a party again, and like she's telling me, "Oh, I'm really distraught. Like I'm just really unhappy." And I'm like, "It's supposed to be a party, it's your mate's 18th." And she's telling me about this guy, this, that, and the other, and I'm like, right. And then what? And then basically, because of that, I got pissed off, and I sent nudes to someone I knew, and I kept it a secret from her for a long time. About
just like that, you was pissed off, so for I'm sending nudes.
Yeah, I got drunk after one of my shifts.
So you were drunk.
Yeah, okay. I got drunk after one of my shifts at the pub, and then I just did it out of spite, just because I was angry, and kept it a secret, and I shouldn't have, and I really regret doing it, because that's not the person I am. I wasn't brought up to do that.
Yeah.
And then round about 3 days after Christmas that year, I get a message off that same girl, and to see if I'm okay. And we're in the car together, and then she notices that I'm talking to this girl, and then shit kicks off. She says, "I want to look at these messages," and then she sees the picture, and then she flips. She goes. We're right around the corner from my house in Kozel, and she goes in. First thing she does is tells my dad. Then she leaves, and then she tells her mum and dad. Then she tells her sister and her boyfriend, and then she tells my mates as well. And then
that affects you.
It was fucking horrible. It broke me. I just and then and then after that, I couldn't sleep properly afterwards, and then she went away to Cornwall, and I went to Cornwall to see an old friend of mine, and because I was there, she said, "Why don't we meet up halfway and we'll sort this out?" And I'm like, "No, let's wait till we get back to Birmingham to do that." She was insisting on meeting me there, and I thought I can't put my mate in that position, so I know. And meanwhile, her family are feeding her stuff to say, you know what I mean? And the only reason I know that is because she told me after everything went down. And after all that happened, we
So
met.
when
Yeah,
you say feeding her stuff to say,
her
is that
family are like telling her.
abusive stuff.
No, just how she can deal with the situation. Yeah.
Okay.
The only decent person in her family was her dad. Her
Yeah.
dad was sound. He was a second dad to me. But her sister never really liked me. I don't think. But I don't know about her mum. Her mum was pretty neutral. But yeah, after that, went to Birmingham, and then when we sorted it out, had to be on her terms. So once it was on her terms, I just sucked it all up, got together, and then 4 months later, we was at her house. She gets a notification on her phone. She answers it. She answers it by leaving the room into the corridor just to look at the phone. So I'm like, if you go on my phone all the time, I should get to see what's on your phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And then she starts hiding it from me. You know what I mean? And she's like, "Oh, it's just a doctor's message. You know, it's just a note from my GP or whatever." And I'm like, oh, "Okay, so you wouldn't mind showing me then?" And she just didn't want to show me. After that, I knew, and we were gonna go to Turkey for I think it was 2 weeks. Cost both of us 1,200 quid. I put 600. She put 600. And then a week before we were meant to go, I called everything off. I dumped her and I told her I didn't love her anymore. Because my mate and I were talking, and he said, I think in as a friend, I say it's best to get out. He said, and I don't want to make you make any decisions that you're going to regret, but do what you feel is right. So I did what I felt was right, and then yeah, and then my 21st rolled around quite quickly, and I had everyone there, everyone who gave a shit about me, and I was fucking broken after everything, after the multiple beatings. And I will mention this. She used to have tantrums where she'd get her fists and physically bash her own head with them. And this is when she didn't get her own way at home, or she would or she'd have an argument with me, bash her own head in with her own fists, and I had to grab them to make her stop. And then she used to get bruises on her forehead and on her body, and I think I remember she she tried to blackmail me with saying that if I left her, then she'd tell people about the bruises. Uh, and another thing as well, she used to, let's say I was in the shower or something like that, because I got an ensuite at my house. Um, not bagging or anything. She used to take pictures of me as I came out, save them on my phone, and she'd blackmail me with them as well. Yeah.
That's me. I just feel like show people.
Show people.
I mean, after that, I had real bad self confidence issues.
Yeah.
And I've got bad commitment issues I had to get through.
Yeah.
Because I had a few relationships after her and they didn't go so well, and that was duly down to me, really, not their fault. But again, this sort of shit happens all the time, and it's wrong. It is.
So when we're talking like physical abuse,
yeah,
you mentioned when she punched you in the face.
Yeah.
Was that the first time? Yeah.
Not the first time. She used to hit me on my legs with her fists. She used to hit my thighs and stuff like that. And then it was parts of my body, then it would get up to my face. Yeah.
Yeah. So once you started to actually physically, because I'm guessing like you mentioned like verbal abuse. So
Oh no,
how
there
did
was a
it-
lot
How
of that.
did
Yeah,
it escalate? Was it like that you just started shouting, swearing, and one day she just hit you?
yeah.
Then after that, every time you was having an argument, she just started hitting you.
Well,
And did you ever hit her back?
no. You see, this is another thing that a lot of people who I was one person that I was friends with, whose name I won't mention because he don't deserve the time of day. He claims that when I was round his dorm at uni, me and my ex were play fighting. This was when we were actually getting on, and that wasn't very often. We were play fighting, and I accidentally elbowed her, and then after we all broke up, we had a fight on the phone, and he said, "Oh, I bet you meant it when you elbowed her when you was round mine. I bet you meant it." And of course, we had many play fights. You know what I mean? But if I ever did hit her on, it was only on accident, and I would never do it on purpose.
Yeah.
She claims that I hit her when we were on holiday. I think I was drunk after we had a night out, and she had to carry me home. I kept waking her up in the night to open the window because it was hot, and I remember what was it? There was a bug that I killed and put a glass over it. And I kept waking her up, and she hit me with a pillow, and apparently I hit her back, and I don't remember that. I don't remember doing that.
So she held on to that as like
Yeah,
something
leverage.
to use against her.
Yeah, she held on to that as leverage, but she never told anyone. Which is the thing. No one, not even my best mate who turned against, well, my ex-best mate who turned on me, mentioned it. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at one point, she mentioned rape as well.
What?
Yeah, she says that I raped her.
To you, she never mentioned it to anyone else.
She mentioned it to me, but then just I think it was November, just before Christmas, she said that it was not true. She said it to my face, and just a little example, something small that she used to do. She used to have a friend come round to her house, mixed race girl, whose name I won't mention either. And I had a blue flannel, and she had the same blue flannel. I think I left it in the doorway at my ex girlfriend's house. I went to go pick it up. She was like, "No, that's not your flannel." I was like, "But it is." So I go to reach. She was like, "No, it's not. You're not allowed to touch that." So it was there for 2 months, and every time I went around to her place, I was like, "Look, I really need this," and she was like, "No, it's not." And then eventually, she was like, "Oh yeah, it's yours." I'm like, you know what I mean? Small things like that.
Trip. Yeah, mind games. Mind games.
A lot of mind games.
It's breaking you down.
Yeah.
Pushing you to see how far she can push you.
Oh mate, she pushed me to the point of I'd cry whenever I go into uni.
Yeah, mate. To be fair, you're a good kid. I would have just snapped her up.
I don't.
I'm not even joking. Like when you're talking about claims of rape, and you can go to jail for them things.
Oh yeah, I told her.
Yeah, to break someone's like self-esteem down, especially as from what you're saying is.
Yeah.
You know, this has just come from her own insecurities.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you have? I'm trying to establish here, like where it come from, because this is like deep. I think when anyone starts getting physical,
I think it
has to come from a deep place.
It was from school.
That she was punching herself in the head. You can see that it's come from
something within herself.
Something within herself.
But that's clear from when you said this whole thing started with her and your mate. Sounds like she got a bit guilty. So I don't.
A lot of people think that.
And
speculate.
To me, that's the only place that I could see that coming from. Obviously, there's a history from it before, like you said, she might have had a terrible upbringing.
No, she didn't have a bad upbringing. Like her dad paid for her phone bill, paid for her car.
Yeah.
She got a job and everything. But here's the thing: Have you ever heard of the phrase used as a conduit?
Yeah.
After she got, I personally think after she got a job, after she got her car, she got some close friends, and then she lost the weight. She was pretty big, but that didn't bother me. I didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me whether she's big or small. It doesn't matter. She lost a lot of the weight. She realised she didn't need me anymore.
Okay.
That's how I see it, and a few other people who I'm friends with see it as that as well. But good on her, you know. Fair play. She's like done what she needs to do, but then to treat me like all shit afterwards is not on. And you know the amount of people who either didn't want to talk to me anymore or didn't want to know me after we split. It's almost as though they already made up their minds before we broke up. And that's what pisses me off.
But what were they making their minds up about? Because at the end of the day, this is what I'm trying to say. So,
yeah.
What were other than your friend that you're speaking to at uni, or college, weren't other people seeing these black eyes, or were you hiding away? Were other people seeing the bruises? And
my lecturer at uni, he saw them. I think he saw the black eye too. I'm not too sure, but I know it was my one mate who noticed it.
Yeah.
We had another pal, quiet lad, very intelligent, who we used to go to the pub with, but we don't speak to him anymore. But I think he noticed it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he got in the car with me and her once to drop him uptown once, you know, just as a gesture. So he's met her, but because we don't talk to him anymore, he couldn't. He didn't give any more else on the matter.
Didn't your parents or
my
parents?
Your parents?
My dad said he never saw it coming. When I told him everything, he was like, I thought you two were happy. Never saw a thing coming. No one in my family did.
That's like in a lot of abuse cases, though. Because it's smart, isn't it? Like you say, it's like more. And they say she was physically abusing you.
I think
then that one black eye, it sounds like a lot of it was just mental.
Oh yeah,
like that thing with the flannel.
Yeah.
That's really like
she likes
to. It's like a dog pissing up a tree. No, it's like
or it's like someone
like,
trying to like tame a dog in it.
Yeah,
saying like, I'm gonna put that there, but you don't touch it.
Yeah. Like really trying to break you down.
I mean, what I'm talking about here isn't to throw a dig at her. Couldn't care less what she does now. But I want people.
Why, man? Throw some digs, man. Jesus, too nice.
Yeah, but as I say, sorry, I want to bring my experience as a reminder that all men should be able to speak about their problems.
100%.
And whatever she's doing now, fair play to her. Whoever she's seeing, fair play to her. I have moved past that now, and it took me a long fucking time to do it.
So how long ago was this?
Over 2.5 years ago, I think.
And when was you first able to speak about it? Is this a recent thing that you've come to terms with it?
I've told my close friends and I've told my family. I told some of my close friends already kind of knew, but I opened up about it gradually. My dad didn't find out about it till about a couple of months after, and then the rest of my family found out after about a year, just after that Christmas that year, 2018, and that's when I put on the most weight. I think I was going on 18 stone because of just, my dad called it like not a disorder, but it's like eating because you want to
comfort eating.
Yeah, comfort eating.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was the waking up at night with the memories of it all, especially that one with the door hinge being knocked off and whatever. And also going out on the prowl as well, seeing loads of women. And you know what? If any of those women are watching now, I wanted to apologise if I had ever made it feel like I used you, because I probably might have led you to believe that I liked it or whatever. I'm sorry. I was dealing with things at the time, and I know it was wrong, but I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, but
You said that you've been on a few dates since.
yeah.
I'm not talking about the girls that you just. I mean, you said you've been on a few, like you've had a few relationships. How did it affect those? And what you said that ended because of you, but in what way?
Because so I believe that whatever I experience in that long lasting relationship, I kind of like tried to make it that way with others, but I didn't know that. I understand that every relationship's different, but what that almost 3 year relationship, I thought, yeah, that's normal. You know what I mean? That's normal for a girl to talk to and treat a guy that way. So as I started dating other people, I was like, what's going on here? This is weird, man. Like, I'm not talking to her every day. I'm not on the phone to her every night. Some girls don't like that. Some girls want to
almost gave you a warped perception of how a relationship should be.
Fuck yeah. Like, sorry, my language is a bit.
Sorry,
I felt like I had to contact that person all the time, let them know what I'm doing.
Where you are, yeah.
Yeah. And that was normal for me. And then other girls were like, this is fucking weird, man.
A bit intense.
Yeah, a bit intense. Like I was in there too much. And then after a while, I'd probably say about a year and a half down the line when I started to get my shit together, I probably thought, yeah, this is wrong. You know, you got to stop. You've got to, yeah, you are the cause of these problems. You've got to own up to that. And I mean,
you aren't directly the cause of the problems, are you? The cause of the problems was that how you were treated in that relationship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I suppose so.
Your actions after that obviously is your actions, but you have to think to yourself that what's brought you to that point was being mistreated and being.
I think it was being mistreated. Yeah.
So don't beat yourself. What about what I'm trying to say?
I don't anymore. I rose above that. Probably after about the second year. And I haven't found anyone yet that I feel. Well, I have found someone who I'm kind of seeing. Well, I think I found someone, but I want to keep that. That's my personal life. I want to keep that to me.
Yeah.
And
what I would say, and obviously I'm not a psychologist, but
let me put my glasses.
Don't define everything that goes wrong on your past.
No, I suppose not.
Do you see what I mean? Like, it's a very dangerous model to follow as well.
Yeah.
Because you then do become a sum of your experiences.
Yeah, I remember a person I used to work with when I worked at the NEC. I did a contract there for 3 months, and there was a guy who I used to work with on the help desk. He said to me, "Don't become how you were treated. Don't become that person that they was, and they've inflicted it on you."
Well, not even so much that. I'm just trying to say that when you're saying you think you found someone, like I've not been through what you've been through.
No,
I've not been through it, but we might not have anyone. So what I'm saying to you is, don't relate everything. Yeah. Things can just go wrong as well. Is what I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah.
So it's very good being aware of what happened to you, but don't become the sum of your past experiences, because not everything that goes wrong in the future is going to be down to that.
No. I think that's just down to destiny, really.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. How old are you?
23.
Man.
Yeah. People tell me that all the time. You got plenty of years on you.
Plenty of years.
I mean, yeah, I guess you're right, and I intend to do as much as I can with my life now, while I can. Just enjoy it, because like I've got the best job in the world right now, and I love it where I work, and I love the people I work with, and I've been in that job because I did a year's worth of contracting last year, just in and out of places, and I was trying to get a feeler for where I wanted to be, and found a job at the National College for Advanced Transport and Infrastructure now, because they've rebranded, and I haven't looked back since. And I don't do it for the money entirely. I do it because I enjoy and helping people with their computers. But yeah, men need to speak out. Like I think women get it just as bad, but with men, I think it's rolled underneath the carpet a little bit, or they don't tend to talk about it, but they should. And you ain't going to be seen as a bitch or a bit of a uh, unmasculine or whatever, however you call it. You're just going to be seen as stronger, because although talking about your feelings can open you up for attack mentally, but as soon as you talk about your experience, like for example, there was a guy on the news, it was BBC News, and his girlfriend was abusing him physically, and I'm talking about beatings. This guy was bleeding. His next door neighbours heard everything, and it wasn't until the police officer got him in the car, just the two of them, no microphone, no camera, just the two of them, that he could finally open up about what was going on. She got locked up for it.
Yeah. I think the difference is with women and men is, I think a lot of abuse men go through is mental, because 9 times out of 10,
definitely,
men are going to be physically stronger than women. So it is going to be a case of.
I've met some pretty strong women in my time.
So I know a lot. That's why I said 9 times out of 10.
If a woman can break a man down mentally first, then the physical superiority won't even mean nothing.
But this is exactly what I'm saying. So I think when it comes to men and women, what women will do is they will mentally break down. Like I remember going out with a girl, and I wouldn't say it was abuse, but at some point it's them starting trigger things, and it's not abuse, but it's control, it's manipulation.
Yeah.
Like you could just be having a general conversation. I remember having a conversation with this person talking about holidays, and it was like, I love this holiday. And I'm like, yeah, this holiday is sick. She's like, oh yeah, we don't need to go on like lads' holidays or girls' holidays anymore. I'm like,
what?
Greg's face.
That
might sound trivial.
Giving her the eyebrow lift, you know what I mean?
It was that kind of. She was like, yeah, I don't need to go home with my friends anymore. And then like looking at you like, you're like, but I just don't try and make me say that. Next year I know I might want to go away with the lads, but from when you say it, then you're bound to it.
Because what's that person's motive for saying that in the first place? You know what I mean?
And the little things like, oh, you're going out again tonight. Oh,
that's what she hated the most about me. Me going out to the pub. She didn't like it.
There's that thing that people say. I don't know how true it is. People like project their own guilt onto you.
Yeah.
So if they're doing something, they might say,
perception is projection.
Yeah, they might get nervous about you going and doing the same thing because
exactly. Because an experience I had that I haven't mentioned was that party that my ex had at her next door neighbour's 18th. The one that I wasn't invited to. Her best mate, my ex's best mate, accused her of kissing another lad at the party.
Yeah. Accused by your missus?
Yeah. So she accused her of kissing another lad, and then she said it weren't true. And but my ex was kind of like saying, well, stuff like that can ruin relationships, and rightly so, it can. But the story changed a lot, and after that, I was like, I must have felt like I was putting on makeup and becoming a clown. That's how it felt, if I'm completely honest. And I dealt with it, and then after we split up, a lot of people took sides as well. I think that's something that every lad or woman doesn't want after a relationship, because if you have friends that you brought into that friendship group, like for example, I had a friendship group. My ex was brought into that with her friends. Now I didn't try and become friends with her mates after we broke up. I tried to have my mates back, but they didn't want that. About maybe 4 or 5 or 6 of them that just went their own separate ways. But one of them dug deep the most. He told me that I need to stop being a bitch and man up. I'm like, yeah, okay, but you can't say that and not have it any knock-on effect. You know what I mean? You can't threaten to beat the shit out of me just because you think that I've beaten her, just because you think that I wasn't good enough for her.
What do you mean?
I
missed that.
I had a good friend of mine whose name I won't mention. I sorted it out with him not too long ago because I had to get it off my chest. And at the time, it was all fresh. He called me up after we had an argument over text, and he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna fucking come over to your house. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you."
Why?
Because apparently I had ruined my ex-girlfriend's life.
Oh, so she told him that.
Yeah.
So not only she manipulated you, she manipulated everyone around you as well.
He don't think it's manipulation. That's the problem. I spoke to him this year once to finally, put it to rest. And he said, well, and I mentioned my ex, and I think he was referring to both of us. He said, I just want to get toxic people out of my life, So I think he was referring to my ex as well. I don't know if he realised that what she had done was wrong as well. But at the time, he said, "Oh, you're living in Kozel now, If it weren't for that, I would have came and beat the fucking shit out of you." And then while he was talking to me, my dad took the phone off me. My dad kind of like squared up to him on the phone. He said, what you gonna say?" And then he started bad mouthing my dad, and my dad was like, "I don't care." But he didn't know about everything at that point. He didn't know what this was on about. All he knows that there was this decent lad who I was friends with for 4 fucking years. He'd been around my house. My dad accepted him into our house, accepted him to my 18th. Person who I played games with religiously just goes and does that.
If I'm honest, it sounds like, it was a bad thing that happened to you, but it sounded to me like there was a lot of idiot people around you at the time as well. Like, it seems like it's weed. You could have weeded out a lot of people that probably would have done you wrong eventually anyway, if that makes any sense.
Well, I don't think they would have done me wrong. I think they just weren't. They didn't see me as a proper friend like I saw them.
Yeah, but
I feel like the
if
feelings
it's a
were
proper
mutual.
friend and you're telling them something, they're gonna believe you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know. I just. Yeah, you're right.
Like if I come to you or one of our pals and I say, like, this girl's punching me in the face, and like you're gonna believe me, innit?
100%.
You're not gonna question it and go, "Are you sure you're not beating her?" Like, exactly.
Well, yeah.
I'm only joking, but
that's all right.
Like, it sounds like it's done you. If you're looking at on the positives you can take out of it, it's done you some favors because you've got rid of some.
I didn't say that at the time, but I do now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, there were a couple of people who I had seen around afterwards, after the aftermath of everything. Rolled up into a restaurant that this one guy works at, and said hello to him. We were talking and that, and he seemed pretty cool, but he was working though. He had to be nice, I reckon. Yeah. And as soon as I mentioned that thing with my mate, he was like, "Oh, I don't really want to talk about that." Yeah. And then another friend of mine, Connor, he's just recently moved to Newquay in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Shout out to Connor.
Shout out Connor in
Yeah, but he's a cool dude. And then I met a friend called Eric at that party. If it wasn't for Eric, then I probably wouldn't have had the guts to talk to my mate, because Eric and my mate were close.
Yeah.
Eric was pretty cool. I was close to him. We used to play a lot of Borderlands together because we were all gamers and stuff.
How often do you interact with these people as well?
Not often.
But this is what I mean. So when
we were at college, so we interacted every day.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, sorry, yes. This happened a few years ago. So you been this was when you was leaving college, going to uni this time period.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are people that you know very well. They're not just people you were gaming online with. You know them. Yeah,
I know them in real life, but we play games together.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, at this this leaving party when Connor was going to Newquay, yeah, he was there and Eric was there and we just chatted and it was sound. It's almost as though there was no bad blood because we were both in a neutral standpoint and we were both talking. And I didn't tell him about the abuse because I didn't want to blow that on him after I hadn't seen him for so long. Because he probably doesn't want to know about that. But yeah, it was pretty cool just talking to him and him not judging me.
Do any of these people still speak to her?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Yeah.
I didn't think about to ask the question, to be completely honest with you. The last time I spoke to my ex was New Year's Eve 2018. I was drunk. Well, I was drunk. I sent her a paragraph telling her how good my life is without her, when I probably shouldn't have. And then she contacted my dad and said, if you don't get your son to stop, I'm going to call the police. So I'm like, yeah, call him then. I'll just tell him everything anyway. But she says that I had been harassing her and stuff. And the only times I messaged her was when I wanted stuff back.
Yeah.
She said that I also contacted the boyfriend at the time, as in I messaged him, but I never did that. I never even knew she had a boyfriend until I looked on a profile on her social media and I accidentally hit the follow button. And I did that by accident. That was I didn't intend on doing that. I don't know whether I followed him by accident or liked a photo because I was kind of like on the creeper. You know what I mean? Yeah. I won't lie, that was not the greatest point in my life, but I will admit that. But yeah, I haven't spoken to her since New Year's Eve 2018. Yeah, and then after that, I changed my life around a lot. I've got some good friends. I've got a loving family. I've got 2 beautiful nieces.
Nice.
And I've also got my aspirations and all that, you know.
And no one freaking clouding your judgment.
Nah.
To summarize, I would say, mate, like, it sounds like you had a traumatic time. And some people might say, yeah, you were 16, you were 18, like,
yeah, you don't know anything.
You don't know nothing about life. But for something like that to happen at that point in your life, when your mind is being molded and you're becoming the man that you're going to be, definitely can be lasting. It can have lasting effects, and I think it's great that you're able to come here and talk about it.
Yeah.
And I just say, like, just keep going, man. Keep doing what you're doing. More power to you. Like, just stay strong and don't let it happen again.
I mean, I know what to look for, and I was thinking I could give those, if anyone's watching or if this goes out on YouTube and anyone watches it and they're wondering what kind of signs to look for, and a lot of them we spoke about here in the podcast, I think the signs to look for are not being able to go anywhere without her, where she tells you.
I know a few lads like that, anyway.
Huh?
I know a few lads like that.
Really?
Yeah. I'm only joking. What carry on? Sorry.
Oh, was you? Oh, okay.
On a serious note. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to make jokes.
Nah, that's all right. That's all right.
So not being able to go anywhere without their partner.
Yeah. Wearing certain clothes. Them wanting to be reassured all the time, where the partner wants to be reassured. This can be a man or it can be a woman. Reassurance of everything, you know, where you're going, what you're doing, what's this effect going to have. And also when they call their parents by their first name. No, I'm only joking, but yeah, I think it's like reassurance is the one main thing. If they have to be reassured about everything, that could be a sign of, you know, controlling behavior. And I won't lie, some of that.
So that would stem from lacking confidence in it. So lack of confidence might be
jealousy as well. Jealousy of, you know, the opposite sex being your friend. And another thing as well is there was another thing as well. where she uses your past against you, mistakes that you've moved on from, but brings them up in arguments to win arguments. You know what I mean?
That sounds like a lot of feeling to me, man. Sorry, that sounds like a lot of.
That's all right. But
like bringing up the past, I think that's just like a general.
I think it's like when it's on an occurrence where it happens so much. Yeah. I mean, if it happens here and there, that's fine. But if it happens every argument, that's what I'm on about. Every argument, bringing up the past to win an argument, you know, or saying the fact that, oh, I am this type of person, you know, because I'm a woman, you can't do this.
I also think it's things like it's not even when you're arguing. It's when you're not arguing and things are like meant to be good and nice, and there has to be someone creating tension, or like you said, there has to be that control and dominance, which is usually.
Yeah, I think what you said at the beginning, it's a taboo. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Have you spoke to anyone else who's been through the same thing?
Not quite like what I've been through. No. I haven't met. No, hold on. I'm trying to think now. No, I don't. I don't think I've met anyone who's gone through quite like what I've gone through.
Do you feel that you've managed to deal with it yourself?
Or do you? People have helped me along the way. Mm-hmm. Helped me mentally get over it.
Like where you're at now. Do you?
No, I didn't do it alone.
Do you still feel like some of the ways you felt at the time?
I still think some of the
say damaged, but do you feel like still reeling from the situation?
No,
you feel like
not entirely, and maybe a little bit, but not entirely. I don't want that person to have that hold and grasp over me anymore. Like that hold and grasp was there even after we split up.
Yeah,
and now that physical link between us, I don't have any feelings for her anymore. But those memories will still stay there. You know, not the happy ones, but more the traumatic ones, not the bad ones either, just the traumatic ones, things that will have a long-lasting effect. I know a lot of women who have been through abusive relationships and been physically, you know, abused sexually as well. And it happens to a lot of women. But I don't know any guys who've been through what I've been through. Because I would say on one occasion now, this is something I didn't want to bring up, but I think it needs to be brought up. On a couple of occasions, I used to sleep around her house. But I don't know whether she did this unknowingly or purposely, but she used to touch me while I was fucking sleeping, mate.
What do you mean?
Like, she used to touch my junk, man, while I was sleeping. I used to wake up and she'd be there doing it. Yeah. And I'd be like, but some guys would think, yeah, that's fucking sexy as shit, man.
I ain't gonna lie. No. It'd be weird. If it was once or twice, then you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go.
I kind of turned around. I turned around to her once to look, and I was like, she awake? And once she was awake, and then this one time after, and I thought she was awake. She knew she was doing it. She wanted me to be her. So I thought, what if I do it back? You know what I mean? Like, and then I think like I got to that point, and I asked her, I was like, what if I did this? And she'd be like, nah, I don't want you to do that. And I'm like, oh, but don't you remember doing this to me? And she's like, doing what to you? And I told her, and she'd be like, I don't remember that. I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah. I never.
The more you tell me about it, the more I think flipping it. That was an ordeal.
I think the worst thing ever during all of it, and it's to top everything off. Like I'm autistic, right? So I'm on the spectrum, but I'm not severe. I've got Asperger's.
Yeah.
Asperger's. I've got Asperger's.
Asperger's.
I don't. For anyone watching, that's not me taking the mick out of someone with that learning difficulty, but it's just my way of coping with it. I remember I was having a conversation with my ex after, I think this was during the bad time, and she said, We were talking we were talking about like our future together, kids and everything. And she's like, I don't think I can have kids with you. Like no offense, Tom, I don't mean it, but what if they, turn out to have autism and they go through your struggles too? That's what topped it all off. That that is the one thing that does not beat anything, not even the physical hits. That shit broke me down.
Yeah, because you've told me about this before. We spoke about this.
Yeah, I told you that. Before. Yeah.
And you've told me the effect that it's had on you as well. And you said the first thing you said to me was that you don't. Sorry, I won't say it if you don't want me to.
No, that's all right.
You said that you don't want to have children, and then you made that point of what she said.
Yeah.
So you're directly saying that you don't want to have children because she's made you feel that way about it.
I think it plays some part in it, yeah. And because I don't think I'm ready as well. I don't.
That's by the by. Like, if you're not ready, you're not ready. But you actually said that you never wanted to.
No, and that I think that plays some role in it mentally, anyway. And to be completely honest, I've told other people about it as well. I think I told my dad.
Everybody goes through struggles, different kinds of struggles. You know what I mean? Regardless of a condition or an illness or anything like that. Me personally, wouldn't call autism or Asperger's an illness or a condition. I would say it was just a different way of being. A different way of being.
I don't.
So if someone says to you, "Oh, your child may have autism," so
yeah,
like there's also like.
She was pretty
changed the world that have autism and Asperger's.
Yeah.
It's like, so.
I mean, you are right. And at the beginning of the relationship, my ex said she was fine with it because I told her straight away. It was like, yeah, it don't bother me. You know what I mean? Like, in all fairness to her, but then again, like, this podcast isn't to throw digs at her. It's to talk about that
awareness of what's
but by using that as a way to help people who may have gone through the same thing as me. But anyway, you were talking about people who've changed the world who've had that condition. There's a lot of people who've had that condition and they've done some pretty amazing things.
100%.
Yeah, I think Albert Einstein, he was autistic, I think, and
wouldn't surprise me.
Like, a lot of people who like it seems clairvoyant, and then
you
get them down the other end.
Susan Boyle,
Susan Boyle down the other end of the spectrum. Because like you're saying, the way that the world is viewed is different. So a lot of people who do have autism, their minds can hone into, and they, like I say, they just see things out the box.
Yeah, I just don't.
So there's a lot of people like music producers and stuff. You can see notes and you can hear notes.
I just hate
like that.
Photographic memories.
Yeah, I just hate labels and like. If you took everything away, right? Imagine you took away language and books and education and things like that.
Yes.
So I'm getting really uncomfortable.
Sorry. Look,
nah, it's alright. It's fine.
Imagine you took away all these. Imagine you took away the psychology profession, where they label people things and they put people in boxes and stuff like that, and everyone was just themselves and living in that, and you didn't have like all these disorders and these multiple personality disorders and autism, and everyone was just living like. Wouldn't that be a better way of being? Like, I know I'm trying to see things through like a lens that doesn't exist, for instance. But what I'm trying to say is like, if you look at it as it's just a different way of being rather than because as soon as you start putting labels on things, you open it up for negative.
They start seeing input. You differently.
You open it up for negative input. You open it up for like judgment. You open it up for like people to think differently about like, oh, that person's different.
Yeah.
Whereas if you'd have not said today that you were on an autism spectrum or you had Asperger's, we wouldn't have known.
Oh yeah.
So, but the second you say that, then people are like, oh yeah, actually, or like, that's why this and that's why that, and it's like, no, just think about it in the same way you thought about it before the fact.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's just labels just annoy me about things. Like, I know sometimes they can be useful in terms of like helping people to deal in certain situations, or helping other people to deal with. Say you were at the other end of the spectrum, the so-called spectrum, and you were really struggling with loud noises and people having conversations around you and stuff like that. I can see then maybe it has its uses, because you can say, well, this person might need to be ushered out of a room with loud music or something, or looked after a little bit. But I don't know. Sometimes I just think labels they're not useful.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another day.
It is. Yeah. And on that note, Tom.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming down and sharing your story, man.
It's all right.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's going to be some people out there that listen that will appreciate it.
Yeah. So. I mean, if you're listening to this and you know someone, or if it's you, go talk to a professional. I haven't.
Professional. I haven't.
I didn't talk to professional. For them to really understand it. I tried to once, but they referred me, my local GP, they referred me to a company that was outside of the jurisdiction. They weren't allowed to attend to me. I didn't go back to my GP again. But then I realised it's not really a fault of my GPs, but they probably had that information on record and thought it would be helpful. But unfortunately, it wasn't. No fault of their own. But I had my friends around me, and those friends know who they are. So shout out, you know who you are, and my family, and any other people along the way that have who kind of like who I've told snippets to. But thank you. You've mean so fucking much to me, and can't comprehend how it's helped me get through this last 2.5 years. From me making loads of stupid mistakes and then making my wrongs right. That makes sense.
Yes.
A lot of people said to me, why would you even want to go back to that friend of yours who threatened you and said all this? Because you know what? He was my friend. He was someone who I trusted with my life. He and I spoke about everything. He did everything together, and anything a mate could do. And he was there for me, and and I would happily do the same for my other mates, and hopefully they do the same for me. You know what I mean? I know that they would, but yeah, I'm just saying. But that's it, really. So
cool. Yeah. Thank you, Tom.
No problem.
Yes.
This is hosted by Making Change Studios.
Yeah, Making Change, man. Pretty good.
Take care of yourselves.
We're off the air.
Yeah.